Welcome everyone, I'm Josh Honor from Informatus, and as you can see on the slide, I'm talking now, my session is with a different hat. I'm not talking about my company, but I'm talking about as an expert representing Japan for IEC. Now, last year we've done an introduction to this, but I think most of the people are new to this one, so let me start by giving you an overview. However, before that, just to set the scene, how many people in this room know that there is, at the moment, the third biggest sporting event in the world happening right now? Who knows this? Okay, not so many people. So there are 7 billion people on this planet, but apparently 4 billion out of the 7 are watching Rugby World Cup right now, hosted in Japan. But that's nothing to do with me. The reason why I'm saying this is what you don't know may be a very common understanding for a lot of other people, and IEC is one of that. So IEC is like the United Nations for people, for the industry, for the experts, for the companies who are involved anything to do with electronics. So for example, the biggest, easiest example is CE mark. European marking. Who made this up? It's IEC, right? So this international organization sets a lot of standards as well as common knowledge into the industry so that everybody can understand and talk as a common language to everyone else. There are 86 national committees, so most likely all of your countries where you come from have also a national committee. There are 120 or even more technical committees. This is abbreviated to TC, technical committees. And there are more than 20,000 experts in working groups called WG. So the members who are involved in this could be industry, meaning companies, private companies, academics, so from universities, research centers, and others. Now, here there are a few examples of what technical committee, as I explained, TCs are. So revenue metering, they have a independent called TC13. Power metering and monitoring is TC85, and so on. So there are many, many technical committees. And here, back to the purpose, why international standardization is very important. So, for example, I didn't know up until I Google, search for the site, but apparently for shoe sizes, there is no international standard. So a lot of the countries, Europe, Mexico, Japan, UK, Australia, blah, 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 all of them have different sizing. They just made up, okay, let's make this as 3 or 4.1 or 26.5. There is no common standard, and that's why when you buy a shoe, usually you have more than 2 or 3 standards in there, and then you're always wondering why there are so many numbers. Yeah, because they didn't agree at the beginning, and now it's too late. So, as you can now understand the importance of this, it is a common language between the manufacturing groups of, for example, the bigger sensors and the smaller sensors, who have to communicate to each other. You have to make sure, okay, does this one talk and has the same language with the other one? Otherwise, whatever money you spend, whatever time you spend on creating something new, it really doesn't make any sense. And in case of NILM, in our industry, that would be also the case. Even last year when we had this discussion, there was a topic about let's create a super duper meter that everybody can use. Yeah, that's great an idea. Yes. But how? You have to define what is a standard, what is a common language, what represents 1, 2, 3 or ABC. So in this case, it will be the manufacturing side, the manufacturers who want to know about NILM and they want to provide services to the community, whereas most of us here, probably I would say, are on the analytics side. You just want the data to start to do the analysis, the NILM analysis, and create it into a business. So even last year, a lot of people and a lot of companies were really saying, oh, it takes so much time to visit individual companies, explain NILM and explain what they want, and sometimes the manufacturer will say, well, I have no idea about this, and you may be saying something, and somebody else could be saying something, so I'd rather wait. And that's where we are exactly as an industry. I think Windows or DOS or even Linux, all these were babies at one point, and we are now exactly still as a baby. And in order to really grow this and make this an international success for everyone, not just to compete each other, but this is an area where we have to fight and unite each other. I sound like Star Wars or Star Trek. Okay, so this is what I really think is in the case of the NILM word. At the moment, and of course you may or may not disagree, but there is confusion and negative impression sometimes from the bigger companies. It could be the utilities who want to think about us, but it could be also the manufacturers. So, and when NILM was still very, very, even tinier than us today, they may have done some early experiments, and one of the guys said, okay, if this is not good enough, I'm never going to touch NILM again. So even if you go later on and say, no, we have improved, they said, no, I'm not listening anymore. I had enough with NILM, because there's no common language. And it's very difficult to make comparisons. I think there was a very good discussion point in the Q&A this morning to say, so how do you define the accuracy? And I'm not pointing fingers because it's a common problem for every session, right? For the past 6 or 7 years, including the one in the USA where we were also involved. How can we harmonize this? So I'll touch upon that more later, but from the receiving side, who want to consider this as a business, it is a big problem. And for big companies who know about standards, they will say, okay, if there's no standard, okay, come later when you have a standard, because I cannot take the risk for taking you, and later on, for example, you as a baby company will go bust, and I want to change to somebody else, and it's a completely different language in terms of electronics. I cannot do that. And the worst result we all want to avoid is, okay, let's don't invest, let's don't do pilots because this is too unreliable. And the let's wait until let's and see, that's where I think a lot of us have already experienced or still experiencing at the time. So I hope I set the scene very straight into your face, right? Rugby World Cup, nobody knows. No, 4 out of 7 billion people know this, right? So you may be the only one who doesn't know this. International standard exists. You've seen on the shoe example, if there is no common language, it's a mess. And it's our business for tomorrow. It's going to be catastrophic if this keeps on going. So, what to standardize about NILM? This is the big question, and why. So at the moment, where I am part of the member group, this is called TC, Technical Committee 85, Working Group 20. Really like a code, but out of 20,000 people, there have to be a smaller grouping. This is an ongoing topic for more than 2 years. So we have Japan/Informatics kicked off the discussion points, and I'm dealing every twice a year, going to Germany, to China, to France, to wherever, already having this type of discussion about the sensing device. So this is the piece of hardware part where we have to capture the data to pass it on to the analytics. So those experts, they already understand. Sensor is one part, analytical is the second part. But the people that I'm dealing with are all experts on the measuring devices. They have no clue about analytics. And that's one reason. And the second reason is, as we've seen today and even in the past sessions, to agree on a common formula, on a KPI about accuracy is a hell of a topic. I can tell you that. Why? Because European, Asian, USA, or even Latin America could be in the case, by region, we all use different appliances. So you could claim, okay, I have an accuracy of X, Y, Z, but then the question is, in this country, in that region, without that, it doesn't have any meaning, for example, right? So it is a big challenge. However, for the sensing devices, it's a piece of engineering, it's a hardware. It has a specific input, it has a specific output, So this is the area where we're tackling as a first step, right? The experts who, as I said, are old school, they only know about measuring devices. They are very, very keen to also tackle the next one, which is the analytical part. But even there, I said, okay, hold on a minute. Even in the NILM community, we haven't really, made a huge success in this topic. So that will be the next one to come. So for now, it's this NILM Sensing Device, what we call NSD. And what is now in the discussion? So we are now talking about input sampling frequency, output data rates, and data bit rates. So these are numeric data, information, that we hope, because we are the only one now actively involved in this, we hope this will give a single language to the sensing community and the NILM community to say, yes, I need 1AB, for example, or XY2, for example. And then the other party will say, okay, yeah, I understand. Yes, our sensor can do that. Or, yes, we can do that analytics if you give me the data of that resolution. Make sense? So now we have already proposed a specific number. I have put here work in progress because it requires to be an expert to be registered in your country and sign an NDA. I cannot circulate this document, to be honest. IEC is very, very strict, so I cannot do that. But to let you know, this is already in the making. I've been more than 2.5 years working on this and keep on going. Now, the good news from last year I was saying we was trying to get a technical report, which is on your right-hand side. This is, I would say, the easiest piece of information. So if this is published, this means international body is publishing worldwide a standard document. And this is only a technical report. Technical report is used for like baby. It says here, state of the art. That's a nice way to say it's a baby industry. But just it's like an information. There is a technology like such and such, and has these kind of characteristics, and that's about it. And we were still aiming for that one. However, during the course of the discussion with the experts, we came to the conclusion that no, let's aim for higher, which is now called technical specification. So now this is, it says there, almost a standard. So it's not fully 100% a standard, but the industry can perceive this as a pre-standard, meaning most of the manufacturers, when they receive this, they will say, okay, I can almost treat this as a standard. I will try to configure my next product or product planning based on this information, because the chances are this will become a standard anyway in the future, and then I won't miss a business opportunity. Makes sense, right? So I'm very, very happy that we made this progress, that the old school guys could also understand and are now very happily collaborating with us. However, it's a purpose and call for experts. Like last year, this is a plea from somebody who jumped in the water and still waiting for others to follow, and nobody's following me at the moment, so don't let me drown, right? So the expected benefits is very clear. I mean, you can be part of facilitating the documentation, what number is going to make the classification and so on. And you can also have a lot of better connection with the hardware manufacturers, as well as some external connection. It's completely outside this community, but all related to support our NILM community. So what is needed from the experts? NILM system providers, such as us, other NILM stakeholders could also join, utilities and so on. And this is the key. For technical specification, the second document that we're now aiming for, we need different countries to join. So it's nice to have, for example, 20 experts registered in Germany, but Germany is only one country. So it's like I said, it's like the United Nations. In the end, they'll be voting, one single vote by country. There are two groups. One is a O member and a P member. So I'm not going to go into detail, but there is a system of how to count the vote, and if the voting is successful, it becomes official. If not, it has to go to the second round, etc., etc. Now, so what I'm asking any of in here who will be interested to contribute to this movement is remote conference attendance. Maybe 2 hours, twice a year. It's not that much, is it? And also inform your local IEC representative of your support. And of course, you have no idea who it is, don't worry. The email at the bottom is the gentleman who presented last year. He's from Schneider Electronics, but he's 80% or 90%, his work is IEC related. So he's really well connected and has a lot of experience in this world. And he and I'm in contact, communication, and we will guide you, whoever is interested, to join you in this discussion. I'm physically going all the conferences by myself, but I have convinced that these people that most of the new companies are small, and even business trip, for example, to go to China, to Japan, to USA is not that easy. Can we do this as a web conference? And they accepted this. This is already a huge exception that they have accepted for a tiny industry like us. So please don't let us spoil this opportunity. Okay. Yep, 5 seconds left. Thank you.